is not brought to you by Angry Orchard Hard Cider. So, why is it that I succeed while DEMS fail? Success creed. So, creed has a religious definition, I believe, associated with Christianity. But creed also has a definition which is really sort of a set of guiding principles in terms of how you get things done. Let me actually let me check. So success, a set of beliefs or aims which guides one's actions, right? So what is the driving force behind you? What is your belief that drives you to take actions? And in this case, actions that lead you towards success. And contrast my success creed, results driven success creed versus the Democrats and their failures. If I were a Democrat right now, so let's take my creed, right, versus the Dems and their failures. If I were a Democrat, if I had their creed, right, I would have sold my house a long time ago. I would have walked away. I would have tucked my tail between my legs and I would have had a lot of company. My family would say, "Well, you really put in a good effort. Um, I don't know what else you could have done. You did everything you could have done. I don't think anyone would have faulted me for it when I explained to them the difficulties that I dealt with struggling to pay the mortgage, with two people not paying the rent, and the city abandoning me, and all the craziness. This guy damaging my property, and all the stuff I've been through, trying to find an attorney, then getting rid of that attorney, getting another attorney, and doing research, and I mean, on and on and on and on and on and on. Most people hearing the story and hearing that I gave up and I sold my house would be like, yeah, man, I don't know why it took you so long to make that decision. That's Democrat creed. Weak, spineless, lack of discipline and focus, lack of resilience, lack of endurance, lack of persistence, lack of fight. How did I get in a situation in the first place to be able to afford a four-family home in the first place? Right? How did I get in the situation where I had enough money saved up to be able to purchase a home like this, even as things are failing? How was I able to succeed enough to be able to have this kind of failure, right? In order to have this kind of failure, you have to succeed enough to be able to have the money to buy the house in the first place and keep it so long, right? How did I get in this situation? A person born in a third world country, no running water, no electricity, right? Um, Born in poverty in a poor country, right? Not a lot of opportunity around me, a lot of suffering, a lot of crime, small country, don't have all the opportunities you have in the United States of America. How did I go from that to being in a situation where my failure is being able to purchase a four-family house and never missing a single mortgage payment, but unable to evict people that are basically squatting? That's my level of failure, right? In a world where people are struggling to pay the rent, in a world where just trying to purchase a single family home is unattainable for many, that's the level of my failure. How did I get here in the first place? How did I get to a point where this is what my failure looks like? The way I got to this point is through my success creed, which is my resilience, which is my fight, in contrast to the Democrats, right? You look at their look at how they handle the whole minimum wage, right? Big talk, right? Get people to vote, then they get in power, and then they don't really talk about it. They don't really do much, and it's all about excuses and what they can't do, and it's too hard, and this is not the time, and it's complicated. Like, I'm not on that bullshit, man. If I were a Democrat, I would have sold my house a long time ago. And I'm not saying that I'm making the right decision by continuing to fight, right? Sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes the thing you're fighting for you shouldn't be, and you put yourself in a dangerous situation. Sometimes you take too much risks and you get burned big time. I could be heading down that path. But again, in contrast to the Democrats, if I go down swinging. I go down fighting. If I go down with a confidence that almost no one else would have succeeded where I could not. Right? I go down with the pride that I can hold my head up and knowing, not like me selling my house 6 months ago, walking away and people understanding. No, they don't understand. I am a fighter, right? To get to that point, it takes a creed of success and resilience. You fall, you pick yourself back up. You fall, you pick yourself back up, and you keep on standing up, right? They got you pinned down on the floor, and everybody's telling you to quit. And you barely have any strength, barely have anything left in you. And watch me rise. If the Democrats had a fraction of what I have in that creed, the creed of believing in myself, and not just frivolously, just because I got ego, whatever. Believing in myself based on that, I look at my track record, I look at all that I've accomplished, I look at all the obstacles put in my way, I look at how, so many times in my life, I feel like I've had bad luck. So many crazy things have happened to me. People shake their heads and wonder, like, how you get in these situations. So, with seemingly the universe against me, I was able to succeed time and time again. People keep telling me no, and I give them the middle finger. I say yes, and I find a way. That's not the Democrat way. Democrat way is big talk, and then you get a little problem, a little obstacle, and then you throw your hands up in the air and you wave it like you just don't care, and you complain and you whine and, oh, I can't, and how are we gonna do this? It's not the time, and, oh, how are we gonna do it? And you don't understand. It's more complicated than you realize. You don't excuses. I don't believe in excuses. I believe in solutions. I listen to, but I'm gonna start pushing on this with some of these people. I listen to some of these people that I talk to from the program that has been a thorn in my side, a program that is the core issue that is taking away my rights. The core program that is allowing people to steal money from me, thousands and thousands of dollars, with no consequence, damage my property, block my right to evict and take possession of my own property that I worked for decades to be able to afford. I speak to the people who are the administrators of this program, and they say, We're just a call center. We don't know anything. You can talk to our supervisor, but we're just a call center. That is Democrat creed. Excuses, weak, spineless, no fight. I am just a call center. My abilities are limited by the definition of my position at this company, right? I've been given certain authority to do certain things. This is my job. My job says X, Y, and Z. I don't know nothing else but X, Y, and Z. Weak. That is Democrat creed. That is not my creed. My creed is you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. You cannot just be just a worker. I'm just a worker. I'm just call center. No one can tell you what the limits of your capabilities are. No employer, no family member, no loved one can tell you the limits of what you're capable of. You work for a government agency and you've been instructed X, Y, and Z. This is your job, this is what you do. As a Democrat, that's the end all be all. That is it. That's it. X, Y, and Z. That's it. You can't even think beyond X, Y, and Z. Here is my creed. If I am that person who works for that government agency and I realize that my program is causing massive pain and suffering to homeowners, as a person of character, as a person who has a spine, as a person who knows how to fight, as a person who believes in solutions, not excuses, I say to myself, I work for the agency that's administering this program. I don't care that I'm just a call center person. I am not going to participate in something that is causing devastation to my fellow Americans. I'm going to talk to my boss. My boss is another weak minded person. Oh, well, that's all we can do. Just tell them. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to talk to my boss's boss. I'm going to talk to the agency above the agency I work for. I'm going to at least, and I realize that easier said than done. And I'm not saying these are specifically the actions to take, but what I'm saying is, at a minimum, I am going to try. I'm not going to just be X, Y, and Z because that's what my job is. I'm going to have some compassion for others. I'm going to recognize my, um, like, I am part of the problem, right? I'm going to recognize my responsibility as I'm working for the agency that's causing this devastation. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm not going to just be like, well, that's the program. No. What approach I take to go beyond that, that is to be decided. That is the question mark. But what is not the question mark is I'm going to try. I'm going to research. I'm going to talk to people behind the scenes. Right? And I realize you don't want to go behind your boss's back and stuff. Well, I'm going to find a way. Find a way. Right? Find a way where you're not going behind your boss's back. You're just asking questions. Right? Do a Steven Crowder. I'm just asking questions. The fact that you work for the agency, you're on the inside. There has to be advantages. You must know something. You must know someone. Right? You must have a better idea of maybe how things work, and there's some detail in your brain that can help you to get to the right person. I work for this agency and I'm very concerned about some of the stuff I've been hearing from some of the homeowners. They've been telling me X, Y, and Z, and I think it's very problematic the way that we're doing certain things. And I had an idea about how we could do something better. And I just wanted to know, how can we implement this? How can we change things? How can I help? Because this stuff hurts our program. When we hurt the homeowners, it hurts us. It hurts in terms of the image. People aren't going to want to be involved in government programs in the future. I realize that there is a lot of consequences to this, and I want to do my part to improving things. Who do I need to talk to? How can we improve things? Right? That is my creed. Democrat creed is the way these workers are. I don't know. I'm just a call center. I don't know. There's nothing we can really do. We don't know anything. Let me tell you what's going on right now. What inspired this video? In a game of chicken, the Democrats already ducked out miles ago, and I'm still going. This morning, I got a notification from the electric company. They cut off the electricity in my apartment that I am renting out to help pay the mortgage because I have people that are basically squatting in my house. I got a guy that's paying me good money to stay there. I cannot have him in the dark. It's bad for business. It doesn't look good, right? He's paying me to be in a place where the electricity is not going to be cut off, right? I got to do the right thing. I literally just got $2,000 refund back when I bought my van. I had paid a deposit to another dealership that I didn't buy from, and they never paid me back. I literally just got it back this morning. Then I find out the electricity is cut off. I got to turn it on. I got to pay whatever I got to pay. I got to pay. I got to pay. And the thing is, when they cut it off, they don't do payment plans. You need to pay 100%. I looked at how much was required to turn electricity back on. $2,000. The exact amount of money I just got, that was a big deal because I'm running on fumes again. My new tenant from a month just moved out this morning. So now I have a 4-family home with only one tenant. I'll have a $6,000 mortgage to pay. And that $2,000, I was like, great, I could use that right now. I am in so much credit card debt. Whenever these people don't pay their rent, I can't pay a bunch of people's rent like that and paying a mortgage. So, I put stuff on credit card and then run up the balance, and then I'm trying to pay it off. So $2,000 refund, that's great. But that gets reversed right away. Then at the end of the day, I get a letter from the city. I am being fined with a violation. The city that has abandoned me, that's allowing these people to be damaging my property, not paying any rent, that same city that has me here struggling with people living for free, I'm basically forcing me to run a homeless shelter, that same city is fining me because I can't afford to pay for a rental license because I am struggling, because I have people that are freeloading off of me. and getting away with it. I can't afford to pay this fee. They want me to pay a fee to get a license to have rental apartments. It's hundreds of dollars. So, here are the consequences. They want to fine me $250 a day. I'm going to save you from having to rewind. They want to charge me $250 a day, and I believe it's per violation. I have 4 apartments, so I presume, I gotta confirm, I presume that is $1,000 a day. They want me to pay money for a license which would allow me to legally run a homeless shelter against my will and be financially buried. I am being buried. These guys are allowed to just live in my house for free and puts me in a serious financial situation. And now the city wants me to pay $1,000 a day, $30,000 a month. I think it's about $350,000 a year. I'm not Bill Gates, so clearly I don't have this kind of money. Um, so we are well beyond, where the Democrats throw in the towel. Look how they throw in the minimum wage, we gotta increase wages. Parliamentarian steps in and says, well, I don't know if this is the right way to go. Democrats are like, oh, okay, I guess we can't do anything. And then they don't talk about it. Meanwhile, I am being devastated financially. My credit's being destroyed. This guy is not only not paying, he's destroying my business, caused the mouse infestation to get into somebody else's apartment. Now that person's gone. It's going to be hard to get somebody else because when they come here and see all this guy's trash and yet, because I'm not a Democrat, I'm not going to give up. The same progressives that love to vote Democrat will look down on me for the success that will come when I overcome this. They'll look at me as an elite and, I don't know how to struggle. I got everything made for me and I got all this money. Right? But how will I get there in the first place? Right? What is the path that got me there in the first place? I am basically homeless. I got no plumbing in here. No bathroom. I got spider traps all over here that are filled with all kinds of stuff. If you don't like seeing bugs, you might want to look away. This is how I'm living. Right? But when I succeed, because I'm not a Democrat, right? This is right next to my bed. And I actually had bed bugs that got me some months ago. My whole arm was all messed up. That's how I'm living, right? But a typical American savage does not care one bit. My life does not matter. The same people who walk around, Black Lives Matter. My life does not matter to these people, right? I'm a capitalist. I'm Satan. They look at me as savagely as conservatives look at communists and socialists. I don't see much difference. It doesn't matter the pain and suffering. It doesn't matter how bad things get. I mean, things are really bad as they are. I could end up on the street. I lose my house. Well, ironically, though, ironically, though, they would they would like me then. The problem is, even though I'm most of these socialists, I'm sorry, most of these progressives, most of these progressives are living much better than I am, right? But technically, I make a lot of money. Right? If you look at my gross income, it's insane, right? But if you look at my net income, the average progressive makes more money than I do. If you are able to survive without using your credit card, then you're doing better than I am. It's complicated because you look at my assets, the value of my assets. But the problem is, it's just why it's so complicated because it's like net value. Because, for example, the house, right? You look at this house and you say, this house is worth a lot of money. But I don't have any equity in the house, right? So the house is really meaningless. All the house is potential. If I can hold on to it long enough, then I start building up equity and then the house hopefully increases in value. But right now, the house is worthless to me. To others, it's worth a lot, but to me, it's worthless because the value of the house is not greater than the amount of money I owe on the house. So, in other words, if I sell the house, I walk away with nothing. So, it's kind of complicated because if you look at all the money that's coming in from my job and from the house, it's a lot of money, right? Bill Gates, right? But then if you look at my costs and my overhead and my expenses, I am broke as fuck. Case in point, my tenant, my good tenant, sent me a photo today. He's on vacation, I guess, at his Airbnb somewhere in the Midwest or something. Beautiful, like, vista. Meanwhile, my father, who lives 3 to 4 states away, I can't afford to visit him. If I go and visit him, my food would be free. I wouldn't have to pay for a hotel. I literally just need to get there. I can't afford to do so. The average progressive who would look at me as Bill Gates can probably afford to go visit their father. Right? But none of this matters to the average progressive because all they see is I'm permanent capital. I have a big house. I'm a capitalist. Blah 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 blah. I will succeed. And it's not because I'm some kind of a genius, not because I'm better than anyone. It is because of my success creed. You fight and you keep on fighting. You fall, you rise, you fall, you rise. You don't deal in excuses. You don't deal in what I can't do and people telling you what you can and cannot do. You have your good days, you have your bad days, but ultimately you have your goal. You remain focused on that goal and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing towards that goal. You don't say minimum wage, and get elected, and then you do a little something, something, and you run into a little something, and you, oh, well, yeah, I can't. That is the creed of a loser. That is the creed of Democrats. I'm not a Democrat. I don't think I'll ever be a Democrat because I will never be a loser. I will never be a spineless, weak, complaining and excuses, and that is not in me. I'm not built that way. I have been fighting for a very long time. I've had a lot of obstacles. Clearly, people have had more obstacles than I have. As bad as you may think it is, someone has it worse. But I've certainly had my challenges. And it hasn't been just one or two or three, right? It seems like generally I have good times, and maybe that lasts for a couple years, one, two, three at the most, something like that. And then something happens, and then everything starts falling apart, and then you're struggling to get back on track, and that takes a few years, and then okay, things are good again, and it's like a couple years, few years, and then now my trajectory over time has been getting better and better and better. Obviously, getting to the point of being able to buy a house like this, but it's been a lot of fight. I've been fighting for a long time. If I were a Democrat, I wouldn't make it. I would be still living like I was, I don't know, 20 years ago, right? The only difference between myself and a Democrat in terms of these types of things is, again, the discipline, the fight, never accepting no, people telling you no, right? Finding a way, being creative. Something's not working, try something else. Keep pushing, pushing, pushing until you succeed. So stay tuned for that one. Stay tuned for when I finally get myself out of the situation and recognize that if the Democrats took a similar attitude to me, a lot of the stuff that they talk about will be getting done. Right? Instead of them struggling to compete with a buffoon like Donald Trump. Right? They struggle to compete with Donald Trump because they're losers, because they're weak, because they're full of excuses, because they don't know how to fight. I know how to fight. Right? That's why I wouldn't be struggling to compete with a buffoon like Donald Trump. I would decimate him. Not because I'm smarter, not because I'm better, but because I know how to fight. Can't stop, won't stop. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.